Again, we got a Lyndon, New Jersey native, Street and Smith All-American, Reebok National Slam Dunk Champion, played college ball at Rutgers University, played pro ball in the USBL. And get this, he is not only a part of, but he is the originator of the original team of the AND1 Mix Tape Tour. You know what? I think he also writes books too. You know, I'm just saying, I think he writes books too. He's an entrepreneur and co-founder of Ball for Real and SKY Sky Streetball Syndicate, and he's the founder of the Black Top Streetball Foundation. I mean, he just got so much going on with his life. But we want to welcome to the show. We're going to give y'all his street name because today on the Hoop Dreams podcast, we got the one, the only, the main event. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Man. Blessings. Thank you for having me, man. Hey, man, I love that intro. Thank you.
Man, let me tell you something. First of all, I just got to put this out here. Agee and I, we both saw the AND1 doc they put out, man, a while ago. And just to, like, I remember you guys coming to Chicago, going to UIC, doing y'all thing, man. Just, y'all took a generation of guys that probably would have never had an opportunity, man, to get to that next level. And y'all made superstars, man. So my first question, we typically ask a different question, but my first question is, man, you being a leader in that movement, man, how does that make you feel knowing that your history in the game of basketball is solidified, man? How does that make you feel?
It made me feel great, especially when you're going through that time. You're not thinking about that. You just think about playing ball. You think about leaving it all on the court. So when you sit back at 50 years old and you're like, wow, what we did on the court and was able to take around the world, and the emails and messages we be getting on and off the court, the way we was able to share the culture, it's almost an overwhelming feeling, because the feeling that going into the actual situation, you're not really looking for no feeling. You're just looking for people to say, yo, it was some guys there that was crazy. Well, that kid right there was crazy. He was dunking, he was doing everything, diving on the floor. So, I just feel blessed. And I thank the Creator for using me in that way.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, listen, man, we're gonna get into all of that, but I want to start our show off this way, man. Take us back to Lyndon, New Jersey in the 80s, the 90s. What was it like growing up, man?
In the 80s and 90s, I tell people we all have similar stories with different music behind it. That's the crack era, the hustling era, and the guys looking out for the young ones that was playing ball, trying to do the positive thing. It wasn't too many outlets. Playing basketball at that time, going to your local neighborhood. Mine was 4-4 Park in Lyndon, New Jersey. We call LNDO 7036 by way of Elizabeth, New Jersey. Scott, the best of both worlds. It was rough. We didn't have too many distractions, but it was human. It was real blue checks. It was real followers. It was real likes, right there in your face. And we had to choose. And if you didn't have guidance, we could have made different choices. For me, basketball became a safe haven. The parks became a safe haven. It was a way to escape whatever we was going through. Out there was no worrying about if we was going to eat at night. There was no listening to mom or pop or whoever, grandma, whoever arguing, or, it wasn't, you just out there. And for me, it was a canvas where I displayed plenty of different art forms. Some was abstract, but it was a getaway for me.
Man. New Jersey, hey, they call that, is that Brick City?
Brick City is like one of our neighboring towns. Brick City is definitely thorough. I actually got my opportunity to play when I started playing basketball. My cousin Brian Crawford, talk about my AAU days around that time, playing for North Rams. That's in Brick City. So Brick City is like New York, they say, or like Chicago, or like Detroit, the big cities. If you can make it in Brick City, you can make it anywhere. So I definitely got to salute Brick City for giving me some of those I tell people I'm an L&D rider, Eastwick soldier, and definitely Brick City helped me see a lot of things, especially in the 80s and 90s. I was able to witness a lot of things like New Jack City type things, you know?
I mean, and just in your background too, man. Brothers, sisters.
Yes. I have 6 sisters, 2 brothers. One was murdered. One was hit by a car down South Carolina. A vehicle was racing. He was trying to cross the street. I was real young when that happened. My brother was in a situation where someone who, I think it was someone who had to be with him to get that close to him to stab him in his jugular. You know, was he perfect? We not perfect. He was out doing his thing. You know, he was respected. So I know that it had to be someone who maybe he thought loved him. That's how I lost some of my sisters. Love them all. I'm from South Carolina, where John Morant, Ray Allen's from. So I have siblings in South Carolina and New Jersey. They all different. I love them all. And like I say, I wouldn't be who I am today without my sisters.
Man, our condolences goes out to your brother, man. Rest in peace for sure, man. And, you know, out of all of them, did you all play sports? Like, who put that ball in your hand?
Oh man, that's an interesting story. When I was young, I played different sports. So my background, real quick, is my mom was a model, my dad was a boxer. So they never lived together. So in my upbringing in Elizabeth, New Jersey, it was straight up martial arts and boxing. That was my background. That was what, if I was going to go into anything, it would have been one of the two. At that time, it wasn't cool to be a model. You know what I mean? It wasn't no ads and nothing like that, none of that stuff. So my mom even tried, God bless her, my mom even tried to get me on a Gerber, like a Gerber baby. And they remember that? It was like, well, this baby is he's just too big, you know, say like he can't be one of the pictures on the Gerber baby. It's like he's a baby. So being young, I played different sports. Shout out to my God rest her, my stepmom, Skeetsy, who was my father's wife at the time. She had me under her wing going, and she was into the education system. Security guard, very, very well respected. And I would go to the school with her, and she had me playing different sports, baseball, knock hockey, just being a kid, little basketball. And one thing about basketball was I had to learn how to play basketball. But in between learning how to play basketball, before that, I was just a regular kid going to the park to play free fall football, going up to the school 5 to play stickball. Just the average kid running around. I'm from what I think y'all was from as well. See, we from an era where that village, so I had to be home when the street lights come on. Not just only home, not just on the porch, but in the house. Remembering the commercials coming on, where's your child at? Absolutely. It's 10 o'clock. Remembering things like this is your brain on drugs. So this is all happening during these times. And I'm just a kid going from different parts, all day, not knowing, honing my skills. So when I was down South Carolina with my mom, like I said, my mom was from South Carolina and my father was from here. So I lived with her, and that's how I got a chance to become very good friends with Ray Allen. I met him in a summer school. My cousin was at Hillcrest at the time. My first job down there was picking cucumbers, 25 cents a bucket. So I'm getting the best of, as a kid, I'm getting the best of these different demographic things, cultural things, actually. Remembering the nights where, at the time, I didn't know, my mom used to go to bingo a lot. And she would give me my 8 quarters. I go play the Pac-Man and the different games they had. And some nights at the time, I'm not knowing what's going on. My sister's there with us, but some nights I would know as I look back, we had some better nights than others. I knew that she won. I played the game a little bit more, but we never missed the mill. We never missed the mill. So just being that kid, and the reason why I had to come back to New Jersey was my mom was in school more than I was. It was like she was going to school because I was getting in trouble. My father came down and picked me up, came to Jersey, introduced me to Jersey. I'm in Elizabeth. Now I go out for the team. Now living with my dad was totally different. Stand up, straight up, come from a family of 10, 5 brothers, 5 sisters, stern family, the Dixons. No nonsense, part of the Black Panther, you know, straight up thorough, like straight up thorough, you know, retired 32 years of longshoreman. But between that, he had different lumber, you know, he did that. So he was a hardworking man, but very, very well respected, very well respected. So living with him was a little bit different. My school 20, God rest Miss Thelma, she heard these are people I'm naming who played an integral part of my life. The school was right across the street from me. And my dad, before he get up, let's say school started at 8, he got me up at 6. I'm like, man, it's school right across the street, but I couldn't tell him that. I got the utmost respect for him. That's my hero. That's my God, you know? So I'm like, wow. And I say these things to look back to, and I start understanding as I mature. So when I started taking basketball serious so in 6th grade, I wound up going to a school called Grover Cleveland. My aunt was the principal. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to be a shoo-in. Now, all of this time, you know, I'm playing a little AAU. I tried out for the 6th grade team, got cut. Now, went back the next year, tried out for the team again. My name wasn't on it, so I said, well, maybe I'm a newcomer. Maybe I could turn the paper over and my name might be on the back. My name wasn't on the back of the paper. At that moment, I thought I was going to be a shoo-in. I thought my aunt was going to be like, oh, well, if you get in trouble, I'm not going to tell your dad. Nah, she's straight educated. You know, straight educated. She didn't play. I was in her office writing, I will not, blah, blah, blah. And you couldn't put I all the way down. You had to actually write each one out. So the discipline side was crazy. So now my mom comes from South Carolina. She's in Lyndon, New Jersey, my grandmother and my other siblings. And I tried out for the team in 8th grade. But during that time, I had to go back down south with my older cousins, Pista, Ski, you know, Lamont. These are all my first cousins. And they would rough me up to where the basketball court was grass, you know, with the wooden backboard. I'm talking about old school, right? So they taught me some skills, man. I came back. Long story short, I came to Lyndon, New Jersey to a school called Seoul Middle School, and I made the 8th grade team. Started playing at Rutgers Park at 15 years old. So all this stuff is starting to happen. You got a kid from Byway, South Carolina, Elizabeth, New Jersey, you know, Lyndon, New Jersey, and I made my way across the water, right? At 15. Now, while I'm playing until like my, you know, middle school, I did phenomenal. I had an undefeated team that year, and that was the making. Which also was pivotal was AAU. AAU was very, very, very pivotal during that time. AAU was a privilege versus a business. My opinion, not all AAU teams. I was able to play with the North Rams, Brian Crawford, and also was able to play with the Gauchos, Lou Almeida. My point guards were Stephon Marbury, Felipe Lopez, Mo Green, Sam Gard. We had a monster squad. And that was during the times where you couldn't play with other teams. And I asked Brian Crawford, I said, why'd you let me play with the Gauchos? He was like, well, he said, man, we ain't never probably gonna go overseas. And they was going overseas. We went to France, you know, playing with those guys. But so I had all of this stuff going on, and then all that just started transitioning over to, you know, the Rutgers Park was, I heard about Rutgers Park, you know, and this is after, you know, this is before the USBLs and all that stuff, but Rutgers Park was different. And once again, you have a kid that's coming from New Jersey. They say everything is better in New York. You know, everything is better in the big cities, you know, and New Jersey gets overlooked. So not only was I going out there to put on, but I was going out there to show them who I am, not knowing, once again, when we're into it and something we love to do, we don't know what we're doing culture-wise. We don't know, you know, how the fans feel. I don't know how I have fans. I'm just coming out here to play ball. So that was a little bit of my, you know, my story, you know. My bad, y'all can ask y'all questions, but I just get so into this, you know what I mean? Because
I love it. You got us flowing. I'm loving it because if I do have a question, it's more of in that though. I want to go back to when you went to Mississippi and or you went back down south and they was beating you up. What were they doing to you? Because see, it takes a lot to take something from the south and then try to integrate that up north.
So we from a town called Rembert and Dalzell, South Carolina. Like I said, that's where my mother went to school with Ray Allen's father. you know, his biological father. So these are like real roots. Like this is, we have our own cemetery down here. So my roots come start with my grandmother, you know, Maggie Jackson. So they play different, you know, like my cousin, I'm the youngest. So my cousin's a little older, you know, bruising you up, elbowing you, and I'm going to the basket. And remember, I'm a kid of all sports, but I never like shined in none of them. I was a quarterback in middle school. I played quarterback, defensive end. Baseball, I was a great pitcher, but I was always afraid to hit. I didn't want to hit the ball because I knew how fast I was throwing the ball, you know? So, but down south, that whole, just even thinking back when I was younger, what also made my dad come and get me, one day I said, you know, Dad, I said, listen, I said, they paddled me, whatever, there's a paddle, you know? And he was like, paddle? I said, what you mean a paddle? He said, yeah, like depends on what you do. The principal has a paddle, like a hitting paddle. You put your hand out and he hits you how many times or whatever, right? So these are some things that was different from the South than up here. So my dad, I remember him saying, God rest him, man, that's my man. He told me, he was like, I'm gonna tell you like my father told me. I didn't get a chance to meet my grandfather, Mr. John Dixon. I was born in 74. I think he died in 73. Well, my dad is like, listen, I'm gonna tell you what your grandfather told my teachers and told the whole school. He said, I have 10 kids. 9 of them are gonna come through the system. You better not ever put your hands on none of them. Think what was going on before that. Yeah, we know the stories about roots and all that, whatever, but when you're young, you really don't understand it. So my dad was more on that, like, yo, y'all not putting y'all hands on my kid. Like, hitting you with a paddle, man. And then I was already getting in trouble. So y'all remember he came and got me, man. And I think where I'm at today, the creator had all of these things set out. We just had to navigate. I tell people, people be worrying about the destination. Like to me, it's like the journey because the destination can change. So the destination, these are destinations we collaborating about right now, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, talk to us, man, about just the basketball scene.
Right.
In really the difference between New Jersey and New York. Because
they right over the bridge. Like they so close, but they so far away.
Believe it or not, you gotta remember, we from an era of basketball. No diss to nobody, no disrespect. Like they say, respectfully. You know what I'm saying? We learned, you know, it wasn't all these parachutes, cones, and all that. You know what I mean? You got, you know, time, and you got the manager over here. You got the, you know, the trainer over here. We ain't had none of that. Like I said, we learned from basketball. You know what I'm saying? We learned from basketball. Like you had to be out there, you know, playing all. Like I tell my sons now, you know, they always be talking mess, and I was like, yo, y'all will never be better than me, man, because y'all didn't play as much as basketball than me. But they know, so I don't get me wrong. If I really was the challenger right now, I can't be nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I do know that I want to always have a little bit more basketball knowledge, not because I sat back and I analyzed it. I was a part of that product. I was a part of that playing on different atmospheres. You know, I had the hustler's mentality. We hustled through all different weathers, through any storms. You know, we got the trenches on, the long johns on, we moving around. So it was no different with basketball, even if we had to shovel the court. This new generation can't say that. You know what I mean? They got a lot of things going on. They can play 2K against their friend right now from all across the world. We have to be out there. So the things that we learned was just different. And when you talk about the comparisons, for me, I gotta say this. I'm not a sports guy. I never had a favorite team, favorite player. I can't tell you who played, what time they played, what their stats is, who the coach. I don't know none of that stuff. I know a little bit because of my son. You catch a little ESPN, right? So just for my travels, the West Coast, I think they're more like, their flashiness is that jump shot. They could shoot, right? I think when it comes to more like the north side, especially like a New Jersey, I think we're defenders. Like we play defense. We don't get, of course, you know, you're the highlight tape of offense, we're just defense, right? So, and then New York, of course, you know, I think Chicago, Detroit, y'all mix it up a little bit, more like the South. We could get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know, we got this here, so we could just fit in where we need to be at, right? So then you got New Yorkers more flamboyant, more flashy, And I ain't talking about the AND1 stuff. I'm talking about real flashy, pop, 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 within the confines of the rules
Yes.
flashy, Harlem flashy, Mink Coats, Cam, Jimmy, and all them flashy, you know, all the Whitley Burger flashy, 55th flashy, all that Grant's Tune flashy. I'm talking about all of that stuff, you know? So I was able to see all of that stuff, remember it very well, but my whole thing was I'm going out here to play basketball. How I was introduced to Rutgers Park was a guy, Antonio Carrera, a.k.a. Mousy. Met Mousy at 15 years old. I was coming from a Gaucho game with my dad, and Mousy was like, yo, you ever heard of Rutgers? And I was like, Rutgers? Like, I heard about it, but I mean, who are you? Like, he's older, you know? And that's when, that's who, to this day, man, he introduced me to Rutgers Park, and that was a whole different experience as well.
And 15, going to the Rutgers, man. I mean, walking into that place, man, how did you even, like, was you overwhelmed, or was you like, oh, this what it is? Oh, let me feel that. Let me feel that leather.
Not knowing the
history of it?
Not knowing the history, not knowing like the history of it. At that time, I didn't know like Dr. J played out there, Joe Hammond,
right.
Clyde Williams. I didn't really know that. I didn't know that history, you know what I'm saying? So I was happy to be out there because I was playing against, you know, you 15, 16 years old, you got cats in their prime. That's like I played against some of the illest jokers, like, you know what I'm saying? That's why it would be hard to be like, yo, who the best show? I would be fronting. Like, I play, like, those big cities, man, what I do realize is, but once again, at that moment, you're not realizing it. I don't got no VR glasses and all that. I can see the future. Like, I'm actually there. Like, every single day that they walk outside is competition. You're talking about, you're not building this way, you're building this way. So I remember now, the era, every court was packed. You know, you couldn't go nowhere. If you lose the game, you might not play again. This is the culture. This is streetball. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't none of that goofy stuff to where you're doing stuff to where it ain't about making a bucket. It's about making a move. Nah, you better win because you might not get picked up. You do anything goofy on the court, that's my ball checkup. Like, this is the culture I came from. I came from that culture of that streetball, man. And Rutgers Park at that time was the main stage. But I played at Dykeman. I played at Canigre. I played at Kingdom. I played at Soul in the Hole. My pops would just pull up to different parks like, yo, and I'm telling my pops, like, I don't know nobody. Because I was a shy kid, believe it or not, growing up. I was a shy kid. And I told my pops, like, I don't know nobody. Like, I don't know nobody. You're like, take your sneakers. We're in Brooklyn. Tillery Park. Yo, I go out there. Boom, I'm doing my thing. Because my game was, and you also got to remember, you're talking about a kid who, like, I didn't work out. I was just going off of my natural ability. And remember, I had to learn how to do something. So it's like when you have to learn how to do something, I like to, like, if I buy something, right? You know, everything nowadays comes with instructions. And I'll be like, I'm not going to read the instructions because I know if I do it on my own, even if I mess up, I'm going to be nice at this. I don't need the instructions. You know what I mean? So it's kind of different because you're navigating through this joint and you're navigating as a kid, a kid playing basketball, and you don't know that you're playing for a name. That's also in New York. Like, you know, I don't know that they was going to be calling me a kid from Wawa from across the water. And then it went from that to coming to traction. Then it went to that to the main event. You don't know these things. I have no clue about this stuff. I didn't say that. I'm not self-named. I didn't get my, like, they didn't like me because of likes. It wasn't no social media. So my thing is, we that right here, we that last, what they say, the dying breed, the last of the Mohegans, the last of the real. And the blessing about it is, we're going to be able to see is spin the block. Remember, the creators spin the block too. Everything comes back around, and we still here. So we spin that block never spin back around to the real basketball.
Hey man, let me tell you, check it out. So my first introduction into the Rutgers, I'm playing out there for the Long Island Surf. Guess who's on my squad? And the
hold on. You was with wait a minute. Long Island Surf. I went over there for a minute. Well, you know, you was with the coach who played in the NBA.
George Johnson. I was with George Johnson and Cornbread Maxwell. They was my two coaches.
How old are you? 52. 52. So I was there with Sam Werner was there with Sweet Pea.
Yep.
With
That was
So I'm like,
You
I
came
came
after
after
me.
you. I'm
But
after you.
guess who was on my squad that I didn't know he was a heavy at the Rutgers? John, rest in peace, John Strickland. Yeah, man,
Listen,
what you call him? What you call him, man?
he turned to the franchise. Yo, finish your breakfast. That's where Jay-Z got that from. Because John used to always say, like, he told, like, finish your breakfast. So when Jay-Z said finish your breakfast, because if you miss a layup, Big Trick will always be like, yo, finish your breakfast. Yo, oh man, you
I played with John.
Oh, so you were there.
So John say, yo, Agee, come after practice one day. He say, come on, I got a game. I'm like, where at? He say, in the city. So, we out in Long Island, so we got to take, he got a car or whatever. But first time we walk in the Ruck, he's like, yeah, that's my man from Chicago. It's Arthur. He played with me on USBL. Immediately, everybody start giving this dude straight love. Like, yo, Strick, yo, hey, what I'm talking about? He was the man out there, bro.
Humble, but yo, baby John always yo. Now he had plenty of names, man, that he held up to everything, man. Like that's what I love, and knowing that story, man. And I'm so humble, and once again I thank my my manager, Miss Rachel, because going through this process, like I said, you don't have no manager, you don't have no team, you're moving around and stuff. The thing I like about her is that she knows she played basketball. You know what I'm saying? She was dope in basketball, so she understands it, and then watching it and able to be like, yo, man, you should be doing this. Because she helped spark the fire. My family, we all, my partner, my business partner, Mark Bullock, a couple people pushed the button, start the fire. Because I was like, yo, I'm cool with what I love to do, man, is give back. I'm a humanitarian. Give back to communities, man. Give back to the youth. Give advice through my experiences, So I'm cool with that because I look at it and say, listen, man, everybody wanted us to go to the NBA, but who get the last and final say? Did we do everything that we were supposed to do to go to the NBA? I know I didn't do everything I was supposed to do if you want to traditionally go that route, but I'm still not going to let them dictate where the best is at. The best is right here. They're looking at the best. Just because we had a different path or went different paths, we wanted to be in the NBA, but at the end of the day, we created our own avenue, and the God chose us to be able to do this right here. This right here is going to last in an NBA shot. And no knock to them. My kids want to go to the NBA. My nephews want to go to the NBA. My nieces want to go to the WNBA. So I'm telling you our story. This is our story. This is what we had to go through. And I can tell you this, and I'm going to tell you out to the athletes. If you want to be like me and just go off your natural ability, when you run across a person who has natural ability and also work out, you're going to have to get right. And I'm going to tell y'all who that was for me. A guy named Roderick Rhodes. Went to St. Anthony's, played with Mr. Hurley. Like, it's certain jokers, I played with Terry DeHare and them. You know what I mean? Those guys was older than me, but I was young playing. So, get right. And you could do all of the stuff they got shooting the block like a brick and all that. You can do all of that stuff if that's what you think you're going to have to do. But I tell you like this. Opponents are competitors waiting for a chance to steal yours. And the only difference is going to be what will you do? And I'm talking about on the court and off the court, because we're going to be human beings longer than we're going to be life. We're just using what we learned in basketball, which I call ball for life, learning life experiences through ball. What got us here today is our stories. We understand it. So being that we understand it, if something is broke, we can't worry about the government. The government is dealing with our issues statistically. We're going to be able to deal with our issues because we was there.
Rachel, I didn't know. She told me she played ball. She was like, I met William Gates before. I'm like, get out of here. Dude, she sent me a picture. She still had the picture of her meeting William Gates, this guy. I'm like, wow. I sent it to Will. I say, Will, look, you remember this?
I want to ask you this, man. Man, just hearing you, man. You got this next level thinking about you too, man. Were you always like this? Were you always conscious like this?
No, like not really conscious, but I like what they call the old soul. I was afraid to I would never think I'd be going around doing like lecture speeches and town hall meetings, and I gotta thank that to my publicist. I used to stutter or mess up a word, right? And it should be like, hey, it's okay. It's a human error. Versus reading off a script, and I don't know nobody that read off a script And then doing the AND1 stuff at the time, you know, my wife, Mona, she'd be like, stop saying, know what I'm saying. So I had different people who's guided me through this, but like when I was younger and all that, nah, like I was just a kid, y'all. Nah, I was moving around, you know, I was moving around like, you know, like I say, if it was etched in stone that we had to go the traditional route to go to that next level, it's so many different things that I blame myself, because it wasn't all about the talent. It's like they wanted you to go a certain way. You had to have a certain thing. The SAT. Come to realize, I think that was something called the stupid A test. You know, because
right?
we didn't get an academic scholarship, right? We didn't get an academic scholarship. We got an athletic scholarship. So now all of our people who we want to look up to and be like the Dominique Wilkins, you know, the Dr. J's, you know, the Michael Jordans, right? We got an opportunity to see their attributes. Their attributes was on the basketball court that we can see. We didn't see how he was getting good grades. We didn't see what their high school grades was like. We didn't get privy to that. We just was told that that's the right thing to do. But sometimes some have to be pushed a little bit different. You know, going into the school and stuff now, and they say, well, this kid is a bad student. And I go a little further than that. What's his household like? Did he or she eat last night? If I can eat, I'm going to be a disruption. You know, so I was one on both sides. I did just enough. I did just enough to try the traditional route. The traditional route just wasn't traditionally for me. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't dumb. I wasn't stupid. I just wasn't going to class. And that was when they was cracking down on just passing you by. Pass them on through. We would get to tell into that era right there. Like, if we would have, I don't know if it's good or bad, but at that 90s and all of that, that was out the window. ACT, SAT, the average kid couldn't afford it to even get to study on the SAT. My pops had to spend $1,500 to do the Phoenix review. I had to go over here and do stuff over here, and I had to take it. That was one of the most things that kept a lot of us back. And going through that traditional journey, there wasn't too many other things that we could do. So what we're doing, we give other things that people can do, you know. So I salute y'all, man.
No, that's real, though. That's real there, man. Even though you said you didn't do things traditional, I'm gonna tell you this: your game was nothing far from traditional, because you was killing in high school, all-time leading scorer. You go to Rutgers University, you put in
and
work
you had
there.
to read and write to get at Rutgers University.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
But what I want to ask you is, man, that transition though, when you was in high school, is that where the dream started for you?
To be honest, I get asked that question a lot. What was the dream?
To make the NBA.
Yo,
to make that goal.
The dream was? What's the goal? No, I'm asking. I'm not saying this like I'm not getting paid to say this. You know what my dream was? It was the hoop. It was the hoop dream. I wasn't. I can tell you, I wasn't that kid like, yo, I want to go to the NBA. I said it earlier. And I'd like to go to the NBA. Yeah. Well, the people wanted me to go to the NBA more than I even contributed to go to the NBA. So when you look at the whole scope of things, somebody was at the game because my dream was hoops. Hoop dream was my dream. Hoop dream is every kid who don't get an opportunity to make it to what they call the best in the world, the NBA. But what we're doing is giving them another way and another avenue to take care of their family, and it all came from that dream.
Wow. To look at it that way is real, bro.
That's real talk.
Damn.
Man. That's real talk.
That movie speaks for, man, the creator was using y'all, bro, in a positive way that we couldn't even understand. Why I didn't make it? Why? But I call it pause, pivot, and pray. And look at and see where you're at. The things that we've done, the only reason why we're here right now is because the creator allowed us to be relevant at a time that left an impression on people to where we're here today.
Wow.
You want to go? You still want the NBA? I would like to have that big money to do it, but do y'all still want to go to the NBA? We want to be this. Our life to be so set up different, and too many black and white and dotted lines and silence where we can even go talk to a kid, man, or go do something for a family. See, we care when we cares. It's not even around. See, I know it's NBA or professional athletes that do things that we're talking about, but we need to show more of that. So the kid just not going and saying that for me to fit in to this professional realm, I have to be like this. I have to do this. I have to do that. And no, be yourself. Show them the artwork that you have. Some artwork because you're going to take time and you're going to draw something that's magnified on that court. And then sometimes it's going to be abstract when the rim fell on my head. When I stand at the backboard, that's abstract art. But we looking at it as basketball. To me, it's just art.
You on a whole nother level, Doc. I ain't gonna
Hey, damn.
and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Well, I'm loving it because what it does is, man, you don't often hear this perspective. Most times, like you said, you hear the, hey, this is the dream. This, you got to put the work in. You got to do all these things to reach these goals, not recognizing everything you're missing along the way that you're supposed to. Yeah, it's the journey. What you were talking about earlier. Adding that to your psyche, adding that to your heart, building as you go along. Like you say, yeah, do we want that dream? Absolutely. Making that money? Absolutely. But what's pushing that dream? Like what's the key things? And I love this, man. So I want to switch it up a little bit because we got to get into the AND1 component of it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
There's so many elements with that from every level, man. Like, of course, an element is were y'all good enough to make it in the league?
Remember, that was a thing.
The element of, it was a huge thing. The element of, okay, Skip to my loop. Is he really street ball or is he not street ball?
It was a Skip now. We say hoop dreams. Skip is every kid the American dream. He's the American hoop dream because he is what every kid strive for, and whatever they was taught, whatever they was told, whatever they was instilled in them, for whatever reason, whether the parent or parents saying you're going to be our way out of the poverty and you're going to get us up out of the situation we're in. Skip represents all of that as well as the street ball community because he, quote unquote, is the one that made it from the street basketball to the NBA. Yeah. But now we got to throw something in there because this is what they have portrayed. From him going from the street basketball to the NBA, but Skip went to college. Skip was a part of the traditional route. Skip did everything quote unquote right. You know what I'm saying? So salute to my brother. You know what I'm saying? He gave light. See, but the thing is, and there's no comparison. See, that's a different type light right here. But if whoever out there listening, because what's going to happen is they're going to look in that mirror and be like, man, I'm going to share my story. But they gave me something else to think about because sometimes when people make it to a level of success, whatever they think that level of success is, they feel as though that what they went through, the next one should go through. Nah, my story different. I wanted to share y'all and tell y'all more about what I had to go through, what I had to do. I like what y'all asked me about what was going on. Who was the president at that time? What was it? Was it inflation? How much was the eggs? Like, these are the things that you navigate through that journey. So our story is going to always be different because the perception, the people, our fans, even though that we may have let down, they wanted us to be somewhere, not knowing that there is a specific journey that we have to take to get to that particular destination. But that's not the destination. That was our final destination. We wouldn't be here right now. So we're proof fact and a testimony that it's different. Destination is different, but we are a part of the destination, man. We are and been a part of creating that dream, man, which is the hoop dream. The players' dream, their dream, and the way society have it, and the way that the mechanical machine have it, is that you are no one unless you succeed to that level. They have made it to where you could be 50-0 in boxing. If you lose one time, we all gonna remember you for the loss. But guess what? They can't do that with individuals like us.
Yeah.
Every loss is a game. Every loss is an experience. Every loss got us to where we at right now. We got blue checks. We got shares. We got likes. We got all that in real time.
Wow. You're speaking truth,
and there's many others like us.
You're speaking truth, though. Right? Even I enjoy you speaking truth because you know who as you were saying that, man, you know who came to my mind? And he's getting ready to play in the Super Bowl right now, man. I was thinking about Jalen Hurts and how his journey, he lost 2 games in his college career. And they was ready to write this dude off, man. 2 games in his college career. And now he's getting ready to play in the Super Bowl, man. I mean, you're right. Our stories are our stories. But, and this is my question for you, man. And really to help a lot of the listeners out. At what point, though, do you think that we should start writing these stories? Because as we're coming up, like you said earlier, a lot of people putting that ink in your book. You got to do it this way. You got to think this way. I know when I was at St. Joe's, it was, hey, you want to be like Isaiah?
Yep.
This is what you got to do. This is how you
Right.
got to talk. This is how you got to dress. At what point do you think we need to start writing our own story?
I think, let me say this, the AND1 thing, when you asked me about that, is going to jump to what you're saying. That was a journey. AND1 was a sponsor to the culture. So when you say, oh, I hear people say, oh, AND1 changed the game. Oh, AND1 should be in the Hall of Fame, the Basketball Hall of Fame. Don't forget about the players. Don't forget about the foundation. Yep. So for me, it was going through that whole journey, that whole process, to where I got that change now. It's flipping now. It was just, I was, oh, whoa. This is, wait. What people really realize is the foundation team that I brought in the idea I gave to that company, it was half man, half amazing. It was Shane Dribble Machine. Headache came aboard. Future and a guy named Aircraft, right? Each and every one of us had a background playing basketball, some even overseas. I was 26 years old when I went to that company,
yes.
right?
Damn.
So it was like I'm one of the youngest. Me and Headache, one of the youngest, you know? So the idea was, to add to what you were saying earlier, there was a format. There was something, because coming out the 90s, a lot of guys was going overseas. But to go overseas for a street baller, I went to Rutgers University. I got recruited by Jeff Van Gundy and Eddie Jordan. When I signed, they left. So my whole career was up and down. I played with sciatica. I never had feeling in my left calf. So I'm going through all this stuff. But those guys played on a high level. So by the time for a street baller, you had to have some kind of footage. So I said, you know what? Besides me meeting AND1 and they saying, yo, we want all your highlights and we just got to skip to my loot tape. We put out this many copies. I thought about it, and mind you, I'm 26. I met these guys when I'm 15 years old, Shane and all that, right? So I said, wow, I want to be just as good as my next tape. So I came back to them. Can you hear that? Oh, my dog was barking. Dog. Oh,
no, we didn't hear that.
So I came back to them, and I said, listen, I could get 5 of the best street ballers in the world that's not in the NBA to market it and promote your brand. Because I knew that we had to get legit footage. This is before any of the other stuff. I'll just say the other stuff. That went through like 4. Man, we was trying to, I had a format like, we get a chance to go overseas. The only person who I could say that went through the process that I actually can sit back and say, even if it was one person, that I just say this wasn't in vain. And it was Helicopter. We played over in China. Helicopter did his thing. He wound up playing in China for a couple of years. As the time going by, we never was supposed to get caught with like 20, 25 guys. We never was supposed to get caught with playing against each other. God was supposed to be out. Yo, I go this footage, send it over to Australia, send it over here, over there. But they got accustomed to the lifestyle that we had created. We was really getting it in because no matter what, we wanted to win the game. I don't care what goes on, how y'all do this, how y'all look at this. We want to win the game because we knew that people was there watching that's there. And then you got people that's watching what we get cheated as fans, as the youth, is we see a finished product. We see highlights. We don't see the hard work that we put in. You know what I'm saying?
So you saying originally when you all were doing the AND1, it had 2 purposes. You wanted film, you wanted tape. Guys get sold, you can get seen to get overseas and play play wherever, play professionally. But at the same time, you said for that, AND1, we're gonna promote your brand. So
yes,
that's how it comes.
It was a third thing, and the third one was if not once we separated, the guys I brought in, majority was left. The third piece was the community.
Yeah,
See,
culture.
It was 2 things that helped us, and it all goes back to Chicago. Michael Jordan had just retired, right? So now the NBA, Michael Jordan just retired, and it was a lockout. So all this was timing. Everything was timing, so that's how we was able to really get it off because we was the only ones really on TV. It was almost like the COVID stuff we went through because it was like, they wild, they going it. So, and also the community because coming from so street basketball in New Jersey was different than street basketball in New York, right? It was different than Venice Beach. It was different than in Chicago out there. It was just different because you got, and this is during that time again where, you know, you got have a jumper. I'm coming up court, the cat like, yo, man, you ain't da-da-da-da-da. He talking junk, and I tell him, yo, bro, I already know. I can see how you be moving. I can make sure when you go to New York, your prices is high. Like, I can, like, it's like that on the court. Or Joker telling yo, you ain't nothing on the court. Yo, man, you better make another shot. Well, you better do what you gotta do, yo, because I'm about to smack this one. So that's what, you know, that's the foot. So we getting up footage, and we going into cities, and they like, yo, these like cats is calling up like, yo, we got the AND1 guys, whatever, and they're like, man, we don't want those guys doing no tricks, playing against the pro-am, and what do we do? Because I know that for us to get this off, we have to bring our game. So we're man on the court, Shane on the court, Eddie-O, and all guys like that. I'll go against. At that time, Hayate, I would go against anybody because we've been doing this for so long. And what it's going to boil down to? It's going to boil down to heart. It's going to boil down to who wanted more. It's going to boil down to that we know that we're on somebody else's soil. We know that we're going against y'all. We're going against the community. We're going against everything, not knowing that right before this, we just was up in Caprini Green.
Caprini Green, yeah.
In Caprini Green, the taxi guy tell me, yo, I'm gonna drop y'all off. I don't even care if you pay us, if you pay me, but I'm leaving. Cause we want him to wait. We was going to go move around, go back and check this out. This is humbly. This is crazy to me. I got family from Chicago, right? And for some reason, I thought that my family lived in Caprini Green. That's where it's at. That's where they say that the gangsters is at, and they go down and and good times and all this stuff, right? So we got dropped off there, and they said it was on the third floor. That's when we was burning crazy, right? So we got there, and I'm coming out. The taxi guy left. I look up. I called my cousin. He said, yo, go, because across the street, y'all know, there's row houses like the single level joints. Yeah. So my cousin partner lived across the street. He was like, yo, I don't live in no Caprini Green Supreme. Yo, shout out to him. And Rajan. He said, yo, I don't live in a Caprini Green. Yo, my man gonna go get you. So I went across the street. I swear, on top of, like on one of the high rises, yo, I looked up. I said, I can't believe this. There was a picture of me in the air when I did the Foot Locker joint with the tight cheese on. And I'm like, yo, things is different. Like, it's now the block I used to hang out on when I played at Rutgers Park. Yo, I swear, I don't know if they had somebody following me or whatever, like where I was at younger, because the block that we hang on 143rd in St. Nick, shout out to my mouse and all that whole area. Like, there was a bodega, you know, they got bodegas, you know, corner stores, whatever. Right there on the corner of bodega on top, it got the same picture. So I'm like, yo, man, hold on, yo. And that's when that's when you start sitting back looking like, whoa. But shout out to AND1. Like I said, they was the sponsor, you know, for the culture. You know, when you listen, I'm not saying we big, and I say we, I'm talking about us and Tyler, me, other ones. But the thing about it is that we are part of that environment. Anyone who's not from that culture, from any culture, if you're not from that culture, it's just business as usual. See, there's no blueprint. There's no 5-year plan for street basketball, the culture, because you know why? You're dealing with individuals. You're dealing with people. You're changing lives. So you really can't put a timeline on that. All I know is that we got to continue to assist one another. Somebody going to shoot the three. Somebody going to block the shot. Somebody going to dunk it. And I'm talking about off the court.
I think that's what made it so unique, because y'all was just balling. I think that's what everybody loved, because and y'all would go against anybody, whatever five stepped out on the court. But you just said something I thought was interesting, man. You're in Cabrini. You see your picture. On one level, that's flattering. You're like, man, all right. On another level, I'm sure somewhere you said, am I getting paid for this?
That's my image.
It's, right, you know.
So when everybody, that's good. When we first started the whole thing, it was, I think our first joint, I said, yo, let's do 5 cities. And we had no security, none of that. We did Chicago, Detroit, Philly, New York, and I think LA. And we would just go on the weekend, pull up, whatever have you. And they was able to capture that footage in those communities. And we just, like I said, we just going to play ball. We like, all right, we rocking, we going to play, we playing. As the time started transitioning, it's like, hold on. Like, all right. And it's funny you ask that because, and listen, man, This is no bad thing. This is the truth, bro. The truth will help or hurt. So, as you start navigating through everything, and now, remember, we getting a little older now. We still rocking out. We getting a little older. But now, when it comes to that itinerary, we look a little different now. Look a little different from last year and the year before that. Look, everything look different because you're adding things on. I'm like, hold on. Wow. I'm going to do something for Western Union at the Bilo. What you talking about? Oh, they got Mountain Dew on something over here. Oh, no. So you see that we start opening our eyes and we start figuring this thing out. You know what I mean? So I started like telling them anything I do, because my contract was with AND1. That's who my contract was, right? And I'm gonna tell you something else, how I stayed ahead a little bit once I started. By this time I got an agent and stuff, you know. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I would charge them for each of those entities. And know what they did? They took my name off. But guess what? I tell them, yo, if you have to call me and you got to come back and see me for something y'all knew y'all just supposed to put me down on, I got to charge double now. This ain't no agent stuff. This is the freak stuff. This is like, yo, this is what it's going to be, because now we're showing y'all that we're waking up. And what they used to do is they used to put in a contract, like they had like video games and all of this stuff. And I'm like, yo, we're not even doing none of that stuff. So my agent knew Eugene Napoleon. Shout out to him. He'd be like, oh, no, we're just going to take that out. But they really were just keeping us abreast of what was going on. Thankful to them, as well as the things that we contributed to the culture, to that brand. You know, I was able to, humbly speaking, I was able to hit 24 different countries and see the different, we're seeing so much different basketball stuff. Like, we were somewhere where it was like Douglas was playing with no shoes on, like some monks or something. Like, and to me, there's many different elements of the culture. So if you have those who's the narrator, when you asked me before, how do we change that? How do we culturally change our thinking? How do we change that right here? We have to become the narrators of what, guess what? Of what that traditional route is for our athletes, for our human beings, for our brothers, for our sisters, and those of all history of that traditional route. There has to be a new history of what that ultimate is. And it don't necessarily have to be a professional, whatever, but that's a whole other